Welcome to the Saving with Steve show, where we talk about the ins and outs of money, pretty much everything under the sun relates to you having a happier, healthy relationship with money. I want to thank you for sharing us with your friends and family. We're doing very, very well. And we just appreciate you sharing this with everybody here. Today, we've got a wonderful guest. We have Adriane Berg. She's the Ageless traveler. In fact, Adriane was a financial pioneer. And you know what? She's written many books, a Total Awesome Money book for kids, your wealth building years. She's been honored and she's received Emmys as a host of CNN's I.R.S. Tax Beat. And she's talked on many variety of financial topics. But one of the big things here is she's here to talk about ageless traveling. And one of the things that her aim is to demonstrate how individuals, particularly retirees that are on fixed income, can enjoy and fulfill a travel experience without letting financial constraints hold them back. So we've got a lot to talk to her. But first, let's talk a little bit about what's going on today. Yesterday or last week, we had the Federal Reserve Chairman come in, do his talk on the economy. They're saying, hey, inflation's doing a little better than expected, so they're not going to be changing rates. They're not going to be raising rates. They're not going to cut rates. He also did talk about potential rate cuts before the end of the year. It's really important that we understand this, because if we go back to 2023, most of Wall Street was expecting 6, 7 aggressive rate cuts by the Federal Reserve, and they didn't happen. They didn't happen for many reasons, because inflation didn't go the way they wanted it to go. And you know what? Each and every meeting, it didn't go the way it wants to go. It's only at 3.5%, which is not as much as last month, but we had a couple months like that, and then it popped back up. So we're going to have to see what happens. But while we're there, I think it's important that we start making Mr. Powell the friend, our friend. See, there's an opportunity presenting itself. It's uncanny. In fact, it's uncharacteristic. We have seen the Federal Reserve raise rates by 525% in one of the shortest periods of time in U.S. history. And now, one bad report, Mr. Powell raises rates again. Well, why does everybody cringe at that? Well, it's because all the portfolios out there are set to bet against the Federal Reserve. And, you know, it's interesting that people are doing this at a time in their life when their purpose money, that money that's obligated to you to support, maintain your lifestyle, means the most. I say take advantage of this historic, in some cases, some asset classes, all-time high opportunity to make more money, to increase your income, or supplement your lifestyle. And it is a great time to be alive. It's all the opportunity seen around us. You know what? Obviously, unless we're dancing in the wrong pond, or maybe we should be dancing in the right pond. Who knows? You know what? We'll have to see what happens next month when Mr. Powell comes back and talks about rates. But one of the big things we need to understand is we're giving a lot of control to people like the Fed. It's important to enjoy the process, but more importantly, use it to your advantage, because there's wonderful opportunities for safe money. And I just highly recommend you start looking at that, because there's wonderful rates. They won't be here long, because we know rates are going to go down in the future. You never know. So, you know what, with that, you know what, I take a moment, think about that. Stick with us. We'll be right back with more Saving with Steve and Adriane Berg. Okay. Beautiful. Okay, got 5 4 minutes.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Stuart. I'm Adriane's producer, so I'm just getting her set up here.
Okay.
Is this going to be video or
Yes.
just video also? Okay, very good. Let me get the video on and bring Adriane in. I'll bring her in. Hey. Okay. She'll be right there.
No problem. We're good. I'm a little early. I just already did my intro, so we're good.
Okay. Oh, you're taping for later?
No, I've already taped some things before, and I just wanted to get them done early.
This is going to be live stream?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will tell her that it's live.
It's all good. People like the live for better than the
Oh,
tape stuff.
Adrian's a radio pro. She loves the live. So
I'm
here,
gonna take that.
Yeah. So,
Hello, I'm gonna get my chair.
okay.
Okay,
You have to have a comfortable chair.
absolutely.
okay, we'll see you later.
All right.
So, let's see. I've already done my little intro, but I will be reintroducing you here, Adrian. We add in all the commercials later. So we're just going to go for about 10 minutes on 2 segments and then we'll be pretty much done. Now, I want to make an opportunity for you to um, present your podcast. And I know you have a number of books out. Are you promoting your Luxury Travel for Less book?
Yes, a couple of things. First of all, Luxury Travel for Less is kind of perfect for your show, and it's free. Totally free for everybody. And you get it at luxurytravelforless.info. So it's just the name of the book, luxurytravelforless.info.
Okay.
The second thing is I have a book that might also be of interest to your folks, and that is on Kindle, and that is the Retirement Income Explosion. And that's a purely financial book. I don't do any financial work like many of your folks and you do, but for years, I was in that broadcasting business. Law, Money, Financial Planning was my show. It's called Money Talks. So on W.A.B.C. radio and then Westwood One syndicated. I'm going to ask, we're not being recorded now yet. Am I correct?
No, we're on pause.
Okay, so I have a really silly question. Because I don't do streaming, I do regular Zooms. Am I looking at you or am I looking at the camera? What comes off better for you?
Actually, the way you're looking right now is perfect.
Perfect. All right, then I'm good. Then I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
That was my silly question.
You know what? For some reason, we're streaming right now. People love this. It's just the behind the scene stuff.
Right.
During
Right.
COVID, we had people with their cat jump on there. And
Right.
it just became more of an interesting piece. And oddly enough, some of those shows I didn't think they're all exciting, but people love the animal thing. And
Love that. Yeah, right. Of course. So anyway, in terms of promotion, the 3 things that are important to me are my radio show, which is The Ageless Traveler. And the more people that listen to that podcast, the better.
Mhm.
And we do also have our YouTube channel and so on. So everything is at agelesstraveler.com. You can access everything we're doing with travel on agelesstraveler.com. Very simple.
Okay. And what's the third one?
And the other one is what you said, the luxury for less .info with our ebook, and the income retirement explosion. That's just on Kindle. And the third one, I don't know that it fits as well in your program because it's not as financially oriented, but we have something called ageless tourism. And that's for the tourism industry to be less ageist. And we do a lot of consulting and training with them.
Okay. Help me understand the ageless tourism a little bit better.
Ageless tourism is a designation. It's a recognition of companies in all areas of tourism. It could be hotels, it could be itineraries, creators, cruise lines that want to really better serve the 60 plus traveler, which is honestly the most lucrative traveler for them. But Ladders, which is an organization that vets American companies, have named tourism the 4th most ageist industry in America. It's a very ageist industry. They need staff training. They need to understand that we're not disabled. They need better amenities for our sensory needs. Some of the funny articles I write are, why can't I see the shampoo? And, all these things that we all as tourists understand. It's kind of interesting. I'm blonde. You can see it. I'm a phony blonde. But I travel 3 months out of the year. And during that period of time, my hair goes gray because I don't have an opportunity to get it done. And I am treated completely differently when I walk in, the same person with gray hair as with blonde hair.
Really?
So it's an immediate issue. All of a sudden I'm disabled. in the minds of the hospitality industry, and they think they're helping me. But it's really it's very ageist. And then there are things like, you know, ramps. Everybody likes a ramp, but sometimes those ramps are very othering. You know, you've got the really healthy people can go up the steps. You guys, you need a ramp, when in fact everybody likes a ramp. It just helps with the luggage, particularly now that the luggage has wheels. And
Mhm.
so, you know, there's so many distinctions that the industry doesn't have to make, considering that we're going to take 1.6 trillion trips, people over the age of 60, in the next 25 years. We're a
Wow.
really good market. They ought to be ageless.
Oh, I actually understand that because um, just the volume of people who do what you do in the way of traveling, I probably get 30 to 40 requests to be on the show every single month from just the travel industry or people promoting that. And you know what? I like the interesting ones, and you're the
Yeah,
interesting
well,
one.
thank you.
So, what I would really like to do is I'd like to focus on the ageless traveler. One of the things that I really resonated with my listeners is, you know, the one phrase that says, "Hey, I demonstrate how individuals, particularly retirees, those on fixed income, can enjoy fulfilled travel experiences without letting financial strains hold them back."
Right.
Can we, you know, I just like to go into a little bit of your journey, start talking about that. And you know, if you have travel tips, things like that, that would be great. But I'd like to focus on that for this one. I
Right.
have no pro. I'm always open to the retirement income explosion. To be very candid, I haven't had a chance to look at the book or anything like that. I would like to because I'd like to have you back for that as well.
Great.
Is that okay?
Right. Absolutely. But in terms of that, I want to talk about hints and tips on making it affordable. That's and there's 32 pages of those and 75 different websites. So that's what's all free. But I'll tell you my favorites. But the other thing is, I do want to talk about financial planning for travel, in the sense that it is what people say they want to do, and then they don't. And
Hmm.
one of those reasons is money. It's not
Yes.
the only reason, but one of them is money. So we can concentrate on that if you like. Another one is that they lose their travel companions,
Hmm.
which is the second big reason. And the third big reason is people tell them it's too dangerous for them to go.
Yeah, they're reading too many news stories and they don't
And
realize news stories are really about scaring people and making them anxious and
right,
stuff.
right. And particularly if you're older. So we can
Yep.
talk, and you know, we can get into whatever. One of the things that I'm doing personally is I'm going to Mexico on Monday to get my teeth done.
Hmm.
And so there are many ways of saving money through travel that have nothing to do with leisure travel. So if
Yep.
you wanted to talk about that, we could do that too, if there's
Okay.
time.
So let's go. Let's see where it
Yeah,
goes.
let's go. You
So I'm going to be bringing us back in. Here we go. Hey, welcome back to the Saving with Steve show, where we talk about the ins and outs of money. You know, I have a very special guest. I have Adriane Berg. You might have seen her. She used to be the host of the Emmy-winning show CNN I.R.S. Tax Beat. She's written multiple books, in fact, over 12. The Totally Awesome Money book for kids, Your Wealth Building Years. She just has a recent book called The Retirement Income Explosion. You're definitely going to want to check those out. But today, we're talking about the Ageless Traveler. She's got this wonderful book called Luxury Travel for Less. And by the way, folks, she's going to tell you how to get it for free. So with that, Adriane Berg, I want to welcome you to the show. Thank you for being here on Saving with Steve.
It is absolutely my pleasure. I can't wait to help people travel all their life and never stop traveling.
I think that's really cool. I love that. So now I always like to understand, and our audience loves to understand your journey because you went from financial planning and now we're into travel. So what was it? How did that transition work for you?
Well, there's two parts to it, and one of them is a little bit of ancient history. My dad died when I was very young, 11
Hmm.
years old, and I got very depressed. And those are the days when there were no pills. They just told you to go back to school and get an A, right? And my mom sent me on a camp, and it went to 4 countries. The reason it went to 4 countries is that it was so long ago you couldn't fill up a tank and get from New York City to Tel Aviv in one flight. So I ended up going all over the world, and I wasn't depressed anymore. And the truth is that I became an addict, a real travel addict. it takes me out of myself no matter how many times I go. And by now I've been to 110 countries. I'm going to add 6 more countries. And when I reached age 75, which was last September, I decided to give a gift to myself. As you said, I've been on the air for many years, since 1988, mostly about money, financial planning, radio and CNN and so on. And I said, you know what? What I really love is travel, and I want everybody else to be able to go, to afford it, not be afraid. And I started the Ageless Traveler. I had already been a podcaster for many years on a podcast that still exists called Generation Bold, and it's about aging, fountain of truth about aging. But I turned it around to the Ageless Traveler, and it's been a boom and a gift to myself and to everybody else who really loves to travel, but for some reason they see barriers.
Yeah, they do. So let's talk a little bit about the boundaries that people see, and then let's talk about how people can overcome them.
Well, the number one for most people right now, number 2 is money. Number 1 is relationships. They lose their travel companions, or people just burn out on travel and they didn't. So what do you do about that? So of course we have solo travel. We just did on the Ageless Traveler podcast a piece on how to travel truly solo, all by yourself. Then we have on the money side, how to overcome the senior supplements or the single supplements. What do you do about that? There are now more and more cruise ships and different river cruises that are not charging that supplement. And finally, there are places like our salon. We have a Facebook salon, Ageless Traveler Salon, where people meet and they get to know each other and they travel together, even though they were strangers before, so they can share expenses. So one is relationships and money often come together as a barrier. People can't afford the extra cost of going by themselves, and they've just lost their travel companion. So together, by having these collaborations through our website, through the Facebook, many other Facebooks, we're not the only one. There's senior travel, solo travel, where people can get together, share expenses, but also meet new friends. So those are 2 of the very big barriers to travel after a certain age.
So okay, so let's start talking about some tips for people. Hey, you're on a fixed income. How do you get travel for less? How do you do that? That's one of the things that I think is one of our viewers really wanted to understand.
Right. Well, as you mentioned, we do have a book. It's absolutely free. It's luxurytravelforless.info. That's the name of the book, Luxury Travel for Less, all written out, .info. But I'm going to give you the 5 top tips that I use myself, because people have to understand that I do travel almost 3 months out of the year in one shot, and then 1 or 2 months in several weeks. So it's expensive. And I'm also on a fixed income. I have to figure out how to make this happen. Now, because I'm press, I sometimes get accommodations, and I do want to tell how others can get that in a moment. But here are the 5 top ones that I really use all the time. First of all, I do subscribe to websites that alert me when there's a mistake. Now get this, a mistake in airfare. Most airfare are online, and the companies do make mistakes. So does AI and algorithms. So sometimes you can get an amazingly cheap flight because they made a mistake and they must honor it. But you don't know it's there. You can't sit in front of a computer all day. So there are alert services to that, and you can jump on that. So that's one thing I use. The second thing I use for airfare, in addition to all your credit card points and everything else that everybody knows about, is what I call multi-destination. Give you a real example. I needed to go to London and come back to LA. What did I use? Moroccan Airlines. Why? Because if you use Moroccan Airlines, you can stop off in Casablanca, free of charge. You can stay for a few days. They give you a special fare because you're going to their country and spending some money in their country. So look what a nice vacation I got. LA, Casablanca, London, and then I went Amsterdam, Turkey, LA, because those happen to be 2 national airlines, and there are many others that give you free stopovers plus a discounted fare. So that's a second thing that I use on the accommodations. A third one that I use that may not be for everybody, I have to admit, is I'm very flexible in terms of transportation. I Yes, I've hopped freighters. There are freighters that you can book. They're great trips. They're great adventures. There are ferries that you could take. People go to Greece a lot, but they can go to Albania on a $20 ferry. So I take a look at the offbeat things that actually are not only cheaper, but really adventurous, very exciting. Now, of course, on accommodations, people today are thinking about Airbnbs as less expensive, but sometimes they're not. If you're by yourself or you're with your one person, getting a 6-bedroom Airbnb doesn't save you a dime, really.
No.
So I like to take a look at the offbeat hotels. Today they're called boutique hotels. So it's easy to find because that's the code word, is a boutique hotel. What it usually means is that it's smaller, it's cheaper, it's very, very local. You may end up having to walk to the main parts of town, let's say, or take some other transportation to the main parts of town. But do look for those boutique hotels. They're everywhere. They're on booking.com and every type of other one, and you'll really, really enjoy yourself. And I said the magic word a minute ago. The other thing is I really do walk. Now, this is brings me to the third barrier of travel, and that is health. You really need to keep up your health, your exercises, prepare for your trip, so that this is part 2 of a health and money tip, both at the same time. Do go where you can walk, and do go to the local streets, and do go to the local restaurants, because in every case, you're not only going to have a better time, but you're also going to be saving money. And my last one is, and this is something that most people know, but they may not do it. I definitely use the hop on, hop off bus. There are different iterations of them, different names. I use it every place I could find it, because that's going to show me what I should see and where I could walk to. It's also going to save me a lot of transportation dollars. So these are just some of the things that I truly use day in and day out when I travel, and I contain it. The last thing I'll tell you about is cruises. I use cruises as if they are transportation. Other people use cruises to eat, and they fill their plate, and to them it's like a buffet.
That's just hurtful.
10-day buffet. No, I lose weight on cruises because I do all of their exercises around the deck, and I use it as transportation to go to fabulous places, hit and run. I go in for that day and I see everything I possibly can, and then I get out of there. So these are just a few of the things that in the end of the day, you're saving several thousands of dollars, and you're having an offbeat vacation that you could really talk about.
Wow, those are some wonderful tips. Folks, stick with us. We're going to be right back with more Saving with Steve and Adriane Berg. Perfect. Okay, that was perfect. That was so wonderful.
Great. Thank you.
Let's see. Are the alert services in the Ageless Traveler book?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then
there's a lot more stuff in there. I can say there's 75 different websites, none of which know they're in there, by the way. Nobody's paid for this. They don't even know they're there. This is totally objective things that I use.
Oh, no, this is great. I want to go back to the freighter. I want to ask you questions about that when we come back. Is that
Sure.
okay? Okay,
Sure.
because I think people need to understand what that is, and what that really is, because way back when I was traveling overseas just to take a break, I took a freighter from London back to New York, and it was a longer trip, but it was like nobody could talk to me. I had a nice room, everything was nice. It just wasn't a big cruise ship. So, okay, so here we go. Cameron, we're episode 187 with Adriane Berg. Here we go, segment 2. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome back to the Saving with Steve show, where we talk about the ins and outs of money. Pretty much everything under the sun relates to having. That was not done well. One more time, Adriane.
Yeah.
One more time.
Go ahead.
Cameron, here we go. Hello, welcome back to the Saving with Steve show. We've been talking with Adriane Berg, and let's get right back into it. We're talking about her 5 tips. One of the big tips I would like to talk about is Adriane, you talked about alert services. So we talked during the break, if somebody gets your book, Luxury for Less, and they go luxuryforless.info, they can get all the 75 or so websites that provide that alert, so you can get a mismarked travel, so you can get travel for less. Is that correct?
Yes, I do want to say the exact name of the book. It's Luxury Travel for
Oh,
Less. So you need
okay,
to,
I'm sorry.
it's okay.
I
Luxury
just wanted to
Travel
get it
for
out.
Less.
Luxury
No,
travel
no,
for less.
promote. Luxurytravelforless.info. And
So,
it's a free book you get. It's 32 pages, but it has 75 different URLs, and many of them are alert services, as you mentioned. So an alert service is something you sign up for. They're almost always free of charge in and of themselves. And what they do is they send you an email. And that email will tell you whether there is a really big mistake in the cost of air fare, which you have to run on right away and get it if you want it, because they will correct it. The algorithm will correct itself. That I mentioned already. They'll also tell you a different kind of site when there's a late booking. In other words, there's a cruise ship and people already booked it and then they went out for some reason. And they're going to reduce the price enormously. They're going to tell you if there's an airline. Here's another hint that I didn't mention that I use. An airline or a cruise ship that's accepting bidding. You can bid for a cabin. You can even bid for an airline. People don't know that it's possible to do that. So you may get a really cheap fare just because you want to bid. Those booking services and alert services will tell you. And the last minute full vacations with air and land. If there is a company that wants to reduce a price right before they travel, how will people know about it? Well, they subscribe to an alert service, and if you've subscribed to that, you're going to know about that. So there's many kinds of alert services, and they're all extremely useful, particularly for our age group, my age group, who may be retired. So they don't have to go to their boss and say, hey, can I take a vacation next week? They can jump on these less expensive alternatives to pre-booking, but you got to be a flexible person.
Yeah. Now the next one is, let's talk about the freighters and the ferries. So people have this preconceived idea. They see this big ferry that might be oil tanker. They're like, I'm not going to be doing that. So what does that really mean when somebody says, hey, I'm going to look at a ferry or a freighter?
Well, it could be the adventure of a lifetime. That's what it could mean. So let me give you an example. I love Seattle. Seattle is on Puget Sound. Now, you can take a ferry from Puget Sound all the way over to Canada. You might go to Vancouver. It's a wonderful, beautiful ride. If you're in the Caribbean, you love the Caribbean, you want to go to several of the islands, you can do this in extremely expensive ways. You could also take a ferry, and you can even go back and forth and stay in the same hotel so that you're not always moving your bags. So you want to take a look at ferry services. Now, I'm going to Europe for several months, and I'm going to be on the continent, but of course I have to get to London. There are at least 17 ferries, not always the Channel, from different parts of France into London. And they're all much less expensive, and I tested it out, than airfare, Channel, train fare. So that's a beautiful trip on the water, and it gets you where you want to go. Freighters are longer trips, and they're commercial. These are freighters that are actually taking cargo from one place to the other. In fact, you mentioned that you had been on a freighter. Less expensive. No, you're not going to have a big plate of food on a buffet, but you're going to have your 3 meals. You're going to get where you want to go, and you're going to be in this wonderful environment. If you love technology, it's great. I took one from now. Don't go here if you're faint of heart. From the Aleutian Islands, which it belongs to the U.S., but it's close to Russia. It's what Sarah Palin said. I could see Russia from my house. That's the Aleutian Islands. But I had to get back to Dutch Harbor and then take a flight. And so Dutch Harbor is closer to Alaska. And I went on a fishing boat freighter, and with fishermen that were doing incredible fishing along the Bering Strait. What an adventure. So these are ways of having an adventure for less. Now, you mentioned that you had been on a freighter yourself.
I did it in the 80s. I was coming back from London. I had been working 20-hour days for almost a year. and I just wanted no calls, no cell phones, nothing. And I got that for about 4.5, 5 weeks, if I remember right. But I wish I spent half the time sleeping in my room, watching, the ocean go by, that type of thing. And I thought it was the most relaxing thing ever, just because nobody could talk to me.
Yeah, oh, it is, but it's changed too, because now there are tourism aspects to freighters, because they know. And so you would have probably had some more entertainment than you think than you had in the 80s. You would have had better food. People would be talking to you, and there would be other tourists. See, so it is different.
Hmm.
And I just want to mention one of the things that people overlook that I've never done, and I'm looking forward to my first one, and that is canal boats.
Oh,
So in the US, there's some very expensive and wonderful steamboat trips, which I have taken. In fact, I've been married a very long time. We redid our vows on a steamboat, but it was expensive. There's another way to do sometimes very similar historic trips, and that is on canal boats. For example, the Erie Canal in New York, upstate New York. You can go down the Erie Canal. There's even a song about the Erie Canal, and very, very, very inexpensive. So these are just interesting ways to really be a traveler for less.
that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I love that. Now, I also love the boutique hotels.
Yeah.
I learned that from somebody about 10, 12 years ago. And we've been to a number of little boutique hotels in Canada, just along like it's like the Spanish River. It's in the town of Spanish, you sneeze, you miss it, but there's 10, 12 room hotels that are very nice. They are low cost. And sometimes you have to go look for the owner or the manager of the hotel, but they can direct you to some wonderful places because we can go fishing and all that kind of stuff up there. We also did it. In fact, we're going to be doing it because I'm going to London pretty soon, and we're going to be staying in a boutique hotel in London, which is far less than what is it, the regular hotels, but more importantly, it's close to all the things we want to go see. So, like you said, walking because we love to
Right.
walk. So,
And now let's flip that for a minute. I go to a lot of festivals, and one of them is my really dear to my heart is the Gilbert and Sullivan Festival, which is in Derbyshire, England.
mhm.
Now, for that, because it's a whole week, we're actually taking a house in the country. So that's another thing to look at. Now, this is not an Airbnb. It is a boutique hotel, but they rent out small houses, and you've got horses around you, you've got cows around you. It's very beautiful. So if you're a good driver, you can stay there, go into town for the festival, and then go back out and have a whole other experience all in one day. And so, again, where is it located? If it's near a train station, it'll be cheaper because no one likes to be near a train station, but it's convenient. As you said, if you want to be near everything, select a boutique hotel that's near everything. We do that in Athens all the time. And in fact, in New York, we'll always take a boutique hotel that's near a subway. So we can get wherever we want to go. But when we go to a place like Scotland or England, where the countryside is actually part of the experience, you don't want to miss that. It's
Mhm.
like going to the south of France and never going into a casino. No, go in. We will take our place out in the country, and that'll also be not only cheaper, but better. See, I'm not always looking for cheaper. I'm always looking for cheaper and better.
Well, the reality is it's all about the experience, and
Yes,
that's what makes a difference. Adrian, I want to thank you for being with the show. This went like this. Could you share with us again the how to get the luxury
yes,
travel
luxury
less
travel.
book? And
Yes,
also, could you educate people on where they can go to watch your Ageless Traveler podcast?
sure. So first on that, we have a website, and that's called agelesstraveler.com. Very simple, agelesstraveler.com. On there, you can get to all of our podcasts, blogs, YouTubes, and we have a book club, and of course, our salon, where you actually meet each other. So it's a one-stop hub for everything. And our ebook, Luxury Travel for Less.info, is available simply by going to that website, absolutely free. I do want to mention when we talk about barriers, our next ebook, which will also be free, is caregiver travel. Many people in my age group particularly have 90-year-old and even older parents or their spouses or somebody else that they are a caregiver for. And they really want to travel and they do not allow themselves to travel. And they're older. When will they travel? So we have spoken to the top people in the field of caregiving, gerontology, and travel to show you that you could do it with your loved one in certain cases, if they have mild dementia and so on, or by yourself in a safe way. So that's what the Ageless Traveler is about. I mean, I'd love to be able to tell you what the best restaurant is in Paris, but there are plenty of better people to do that. I tell you how to break out and never stop traveling. So that's agelesstraveler.com.
Adriane, I want to thank you so much for being with us today. Folks, you're going to be able to see luxurytravelforless.info, the link, and you're going to see the Ageless Traveler .com on our website. So you can go there in case you didn't hear it all, get it written down fast. Adriane, I want to thank you for being with the show. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'd definitely like to have you back again.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see y'all. Thanks for joining us on Saving with Steve. Bye-bye.